Mexican tarot card reader, prophetess, and I said I do not sell my power, and the women decided to compete with my, I guess you want to call it mothership, beauty, image, or whatever.
I could stop you. So if I understood you, you were cooking, and then for whatever reason, you...
He scarred my face right here, and I said he's not going to put his... I even told him, I said, you put a spirit on all the women to laugh at me because now I'm all scarred and everybody's going to come out flaunting their beauty, and apparently you do not know how much I love to express my beauty. I love to go to the ocean. I love to travel. I'm a homeschool mother, daycare provider. I never been in jail before. I never been attacked as such a rapist in any kind of way.
If I could, though, I'm just trying to figure out, though, you were cooking, and then as I understand you, you hit Peter first?
Yeah. He hit me right here first,
Okay,
and then he kept
first.
kicking me.
Okay, let me get that. Let me clear that up. When you were cooking, are you saying that Peter hit you first by your eye?
When I first met him.
That was a while ago?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
On June 21st is when he asked me to date with him.
But on January 1st, on the day when you called the police, who hit who first?
I hit him.
Okay.
I said, you're not going to scar or put another threat, or you do not have the right to be jealous. I even had a dream about God. It was like a Catholic type of big church and a bunch of old men with torches.
Let me ask you this, though. Okay, you indicated you hit him first. What did he do when you hit him? What did he do to you, if anything?
I said to him, okay, what went behind my thought of why I punched him?
No. What did he do after you're hitting him? What did he do to you?
Yes.
Tell me what he did to you.
Oh, he told me let go.
Okay, did he hit you?
Then he hit me.
Okay. Then he hit you?
Yes.
All right.
And I did not lay a finger on him.
Did you stop hitting him at that point?
I said, give me your biggest, best punch on how you're trying to scar my face.
All right. Did he give you? Did you think he was giving you his best punch?
Yes.
All right. Now, Mr. Vieira-Cabell asked you.
Oh, Mr. Joey, his friend Phantom filmed it.
How many times do you think you were hit by Mr. Helfrich?
I couldn't count.
All right. Were you bleeding?
It was dark. I didn't see the blood.
All right. Now, if I understand you, you said that you found a cell phone and then you called 911.
Yes, he goes to the camper like it's a normal day.
Let me just help me out here. And if I understand you correctly, after you dialed 911, Mr. Helfrich came over and pushed you out of the camper.
He got the phone when he heard me dialing.
He took the phone and then pushed you out of the camper.
No, he was in his teardrop camper, which is the bedroom. And I went looking for my purse, and he thinks it's like the same issues like the first time. I think so. I had already warned him. You're not allowed to be jealous of God.
Okay, but he
looks at me.
I'm just trying to. When you had the phone, though, he took the phone from you. Peter did. Did he hit you anymore after you took the phone?
Okay, I went into the school bus. I said, and I got the phone, and I said, no, I'm not gonna have this man insecuring me in my bed and just spontaneously punching me. Poor sport, not liberal.
Did he hit you when he pushed you out of the camper?
He got the phone.
Did he hit you? Can you answer that? Did he hit you?
When
he got the phone from you. When he took the phone from you, did he hit you then?
Yes, that's when he came in with the machete.
All right. And then he pushed you out of the camper?
Then he pushed me out of the camper.
Right.
He got mad when I dialed 911.
At any time, did you have a knife and threaten Mr. Helfrich when you were in the house, in the camper?
No.
All right. Did you ever hold anything that could be a weapon, like a frying pan or a...
No.
All right. And then you said when you went to the hospital, they put 6 staples in your head?
Yes.
All right. And was it a lady police officer that you saw that showed up at the
To
place?
tell you the truth,
you remember if it was a lady or not?
I couldn't open my left eye.
All right. Fair enough. Those are all the questions I have. Mr. Vieira-Cabell may have some questions for you.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Can she be excused?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
The state's next witness is going to be Deputy Monique Mendoza. Whatever's
You
easiest
can
for
take
you.
her back to the department. We're finished with her, and I'll have the bailiff take care of Mr. Helfrich. All right, thank you.
I read it. I got it.
Oh, no, I know.
Deputy Arms is returning her to the jail, so you'll be taking custody of him.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you are about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
You may be seated.
Please state your name and spell your last name for us.
Monique Mendoza, Mendoza.
What do you do for a living, Miss Mendoza?
I'm employed with the Nye County Sheriff's Office here in Portland as a deputy sheriff.
Okay. Were you on duty on January 1st of 2012?
Yes, I was.
Okay. Did you run into someone named Sylvia Castillo that night?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And where did you run into her?
It was in the area of, I believe it was 2400 East Basin.
Okay. And that's here in Pahrump?
Yes.
Okay. And why did you go to that location?
I was dispatched there for a report of a domestic.
Okay. And what did you find when you arrived at that location?
I found Miss Castillo. She kind of popped up out of nowhere in the desert. She was severely beaten. Her left eye was swollen shut. She had some blood coming down the left side of her neck. She also had blood on the back of her head.
Okay. And what kind of is that a residence? What's at that location?
I guess it's a residence. That's where she and her boyfriend stay, or what she called her boyfriend.
Okay. I'm going to approach and show you what's been marked as State's Proposed Exhibit Number 1. I want you to just take a look at it real quick and let me know once you get a chance to look at it if you recognize it. And it should just be.
These are the photos.
Yes, I do recognize it.
And what do you recognize State's Proposed Exhibit 1 to be?
Sylvia Castillo and the condition I found her in.
Are those photos that you took?
Yes, they are.
Okay. And you took them that night that you went with Ms. Castillo?
Yes, I took them as soon as I could because the medics were on their way and they were going to take her.
Okay.
So,
Do those appear to be true and accurate copies of those photos that you took?
yes, they do.
Okay. At this point, I've marked them all as State's Proposed Exhibit Number 1. Does Your Honor prefer that they get separate designations for each photo?
How many are there?
I believe there's approximately 6.
If we're going to go through them, other than what she's just identified, they should be marked individually. If you're not, then that's fine.
I'm just going to move for admission.
No objection to the 5 in aggregate. I think there's 5.
All right, thank you.
Okay. I'm going to move for admission of State's Proposed Exhibit Number 1 at this time.
Any objection?
No, none, Your Honor.
Exhibit 1 will be admitted.
Did you locate Mr. Helfrich?
Yes.
Okay. And is he here in the courtroom with us?
Yes, he is.
Okay. Could you just tell us which individual he is?
He's sitting to my right in the orange and white.
Okay. So did you have a chance to speak with the defendant on that night?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And what did you talk to him about?
I asked him what happened with Miss Castillo.
Did he tell you?
Yes, he did.
Okay. What did he tell you happened?
He said that they were in an all-out brawl and that he had punched her repeatedly, but only after she had pulled out a knife on him, is what he said.
Okay. Did you do any further investigation to see if you could find the knife or verify his version?
Yes, I did. I relocated to the bus. It's a school bus is where they live, or there is a school bus in the area that they live in, which is where I was told the incident happened. And
had he described the knife to you?
yes, he did. And he said that what it sounded to me that he described was a kitchen knife with some tape wrapped around the handle portion of it.
Okay. And did you spend very much time looking for that?
I spent quite a bit of time looking for it, probably, if I'd have to guess, anywhere between 20 and 30 minutes.
Okay. And were you able to find that?
No, I wasn't.
Okay. Did you ask him if he could give you a more specific location for where that knife might be?
He was asked several times. I personally asked him, and I believe Detective Berkowitz had asked him quite a few times at my request also.
Okay. Did he give you an answer as to where that knife might be?
He gave me a general location, but no actual or specific area in the school bus.
Okay. And was that, and that general location he gave you, that was the area that you searched?
The school bus, yes.
Okay. What was Mr. Helfrich's appearance that night?
Well, he appeared like he was in a fight. However, the injuries that I observed weren't as severe on him as the injuries on Castillo.
Okay. And you mentioned that Ms. Castillo had what appeared to be some fairly severe injuries in your estimation. What areas of the body were those injuries to? Do you recall?
Mostly to the left side of her face.
Okay. Any additional injuries on the head?
On the back of her head.
Okay. At this point, I'll pass the witness.
Officer Mendoza, did you have a chance to talk to Ms. Castillo about the allegation that she had a knife? Did you have a chance at the scene?
I had asked her if, prior to speaking with Mr. Helfrich, I had asked her if there were any weapons involved, and she had told me no.
And how big of a place, let me back up. Apparently Mr. Helfrich tried to give you a general idea of where he thought the knife was and a general description of it, right?
Yes.
And I mean, are we talking about a big area that you had to search?
A school bus?
Did you pretty much search the whole school bus from back to front, or just the area that Mr. Helfrich thought it might be?
From back to front, I did.
So you went up and down and took a real good look, right?
Yes.
Okay. Was the place reasonably neat? I mean, other than the fact a brawl had occurred in there, or was it a pigsty full of all kinds of stuff?
It was a pigsty.
It was a pigsty? All right. So was there a lot of stuff laying around that maybe something could have been under? You know how people leave trash laying around, and then just trying to get a visual image of what you had to do to try and find the knife.
There were, if I remember correctly, a couple bags. So I did my best to pick those up and look underneath them, look under the seats, which is why I had Detective Berkowitz ask Mr. Helfrich if there was a more specific location. There were, I don't know that this has any relevance, but there were firearms in the school bus that he was able to tell me about. But the knife, which I thought was pretty important, he couldn't remember where that was at.
I gotcha. From your examination of the school bus, did you see any signs of blood? Because apparently Ms. Castillo was bleeding, right?
Yes, there was lots of blood.
In the school bus?
Yes.
From back to front, or confined to a particular area?
It was from probably the middle of the school bus to the end of the school, the rear of the school bus,
So
leading out.
like half the school bus apparently had blood evidence or blood smears? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
All right. And I think you took a good look at Mr. Helfrich. Do you recall if he had any wounds, any bleeding wounds on his person? Feel free to look at your report if you want. I don't see it in your report.
I think I noted in my report that he had some scratches and small cuts. I think the major injury that I saw on him was on his right hand. It was swollen, appeared red, I think.
Well, let me ask you,
Remembering.
right hand swollen, and if you can't answer, please tell me. Did it appear that the right hand was swollen because he was using it to smack something?
Yes.
All right. I mean, It doesn't take an Einstein to figure that out, right, when you've been on a cop for a while?
Yes.
Okay. And then it's my understanding Mr. Helfrich admitted that he had repeatedly punched Ms. Castillo, but only after he claimed a knife had appeared.
Pulled on him, yes.
Did he give you any idea how many times he may have punched Ms. Castillo?
Not a specific number, but I would assume more than once.
Well, repeatedly would definitely mean more than once. All right. Did you have a chance to look at Ms. Castillo before the paramedics got there, just at her injuries?
Just from what I saw and took
Photograph?
pictures of.
All right. I mean, generally, you try not to get your hands anywhere close to the blood, right?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. And finally, did Mr. Helfrich give kind of a more detailed explanation as to why he thought he could act in self-defense with a knife? I mean, did he tends to ramble in my experience. I'm wondering if you recall anything he told you about the knife thing and why or what or anything like that. You follow my question?
Not specifically. I mean, he did talk a lot, but the more important, I guess, parts of the investigation is what I paid attention to.
Fair enough. Those are all the questions I have. Thank you.
Mr. Vietick-Bill, anything further?
No further questions, Your Honor.
And should be excused.
Should I?
Thank you, Deputy.
Thank you, ma'am. Did you want?
They've been admitted.
The state's last witness will be Ms. Robin Shope.
Some additional pictures.
Do you want to see these in color? I can tell those are black and whites, and it might not come.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you are about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
You may be seated.
No problem.
Good morning.
Morning.
Could you please state your name and spell your name for us?
Yes, my name is Robin Shope, R-O-B-Y-N, Shope, S-H-O-P-E.
Thank you. What do you do for a living, Ms. Shope?
I'm the program manager and domestic violence advocate for No to Abuse here in Pahrump.
Okay. What are your responsibilities in that job?
I am responsible for the welfare of the women who walk into my office who have been domestically abused or possibly abused.
Okay. Over the course of that responsibility, do you ever take photographs?
Yes, we do when necessary.
Okay. And when do you deem it necessary to take photographs of someone?
Normally if there is a mark on the woman that she claims was a part of the abuse at the time, then pictures are taken.
Okay. I want to talk to you specifically about an individual named Sylvia Castillo. Do you know who that is?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And how do you know Ms. Castillo?
Originally, Ms. Castillo walked into my office in December of 2011. She was brought in by the Nye County Sheriff Department. At that time, she had claimed that she had been sexually assaulted 6 months prior.
Okay. I want to move away from that December event and talk about some events in January. Mm-hmm. Did you see Ms. Castillo on some unrelated events in January?
In January, we received a crisis line call. That was January 2nd. And at that time, it was a call from Desert View Hospital claiming that they had a patient who they felt needed to speak to a domestic violence advocate, and the patient had said that she would do that. So I was called.
And did you go to Desert View Hospital?